Meet Evelyn, a woman who lost her daughter to a tragic accident and has been living in a world of grief and isolation. One day, while visiting the mall, she encounters a lonely woman who reminds her of her late daughter. This chance meeting will change both their lives forever. The mall was bustling with Saturday shoppers, but Evelyn barely noticed the chaos around her. She sat on a marble bench, her hands pressed against her ears, trying to block out the overwhelming sounds. Her eyes, filled with unshed tears, darted from face to face as people streamed past. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, and the scent of perfume from Macy's battled with the food court's greasy aromas, making her stomach churn. Evelyn's world had been reduced to a haze of sensory overload since her daughter, Emily, had died in a car accident 3 years ago. She had been driving home from her art class when a drunk driver ran a red light, crashing into her car. Emily had been just 22, a vibrant young woman with a love for painting and a heart full of dreams. Evelyn's grief had been all-consuming, driving her into a deep isolation that left her feeling empty and alone. Today, Evelyn had come to the mall on a whim, trying to escape the silence of her empty home. She had hoped the familiar surroundings would provide some comfort, but the noise and crowds were too much. She pressed her palms harder against her ears, but it did nothing to stop the assault. A group of teenagers laughed nearby, their sharp, piercing sounds feeling like needles in her brain. Evelyn's breath hitched as she struggled to maintain her composure. She felt a gentle hand on her shoulder and turned to see a woman with kind, dark eyes looking at her with concern. "Are you okay?" the woman asked softly. Evelyn shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "It's too loud," she managed to whisper. "Everything is too loud." The woman's expression softened, and she sat down next to Evelyn, leaving careful space between them. "I'm Patricia," she said, "and you don't have to tell me your name if you don't want to. But I've got two good ears and nowhere else to be right now." Evelyn looked at Patricia, seeing something in her eyes that reminded her of the empathy and kindness she had once known. For the first time in years, she felt a glimmer of hope, a flicker of connection in a world that had felt so empty. "I'm Evelyn," she said, her voice barely audible. Patricia smiled warmly. "It's nice to meet you, Evelyn. Is there anything I can do to help?" Evelyn shook her head, but Patricia's presence was already making a difference. The mall's chaos seemed to fade into the background, replaced by the soothing sound of Patricia's voice. "You know," Patricia said, "sometimes the world can be too much. But sometimes, just sometimes, we find someone who understands, someone who sees us and hears us, even when the world is too loud." Evelyn felt a tear slip down her cheek. "I haven't felt seen or heard in a long time," she admitted. Patricia's eyes filled with understanding. "Neither have I," she said softly. "But I think that's why we're here right now, to see each other." Evelyn looked at Patricia, feeling a connection that was both unexpected and deeply needed. In that moment, she knew that this encounter was more than just a chance meeting. It was a beginning, a chance at redemption, and a path to healing that she had never thought possible. The two women sat together, finding solace in each other's company, as the mall's chaos continued around them.